Welcome to episode number 9 of the Eli Engel podcast. I'm your host, Eli Donnell. Let's dive on into it. Missed from last week in the MLB, Bo Bichette and the Mets agree on a 3-year, $126 million contract. Cody Bellinger and the Yankees agree to a 5-year, $162.5 million contract with opt-outs after the second and third season, so Bellinger is staying put in the Bronx. And then Freddie Peralta and reliever Tobias Myers traded from the Brewers to the Mets in exchange for Jet Williams and Brandon Spratt. And then breaking news at the PGA Tour this afternoon, that is Wednesday, January the 28th, Patrick Reed will be reinstated on the PGA Tour. He'll play a full season on the DP World this year, and then starting in 2027, he'll be back on the PGA Tour. He is being allowed back on is he was not a member of the PGA Tour when he played event for LIV. Now, this brings the argument over to Wesley Bryan, who played in the LIV Duels. He tried to argue his suspension, but he will not be back on the tour anytime soon, as he was on a PGA Tour member when he played in the LIV Golf Duels. Moving on, recapping last week, Scotty Scheffler won the American Express for his 20th career win. He has not finished worse than T8 in his last 13 starts. He is the best golfer right now, and no one, see if anyone would stop him. Chance at the Grand Slam this year is very possible he gets it done. Blades Brown, this kid is on the up and up. Just graduated high school last Wednesday. He's 18 years old. He wrapped up the Corn Ferry in the Bahamas. That was a Sunday to Wednesday event, and then he flew overnight, Wednesday to Thursday, to Palm Springs, and then on Thursday, he made his PGA Tour debut and set a course record on the Nicklaus course on Friday. And then, to cap it off on Sunday, he played in the final round with the eventual winner, Scotty Scheffler. This kid's going to be a big problem. I believe he will get his PGA Tour card by the end of the year. He will keep a great finish on the Corn Ferry Tour. And then Brooks Koepka, he tees it up at the Farmers Insurance this week, his first start back as a member of the PGA Tour. And then into the TGL, one event, and Boston beat the Bay 9-1, not even close. Into the NHL, we got a lot to talk about. Tom Wilson returned to the lineups for the Capitals after missing 8 games with a lower body injury. Teddy Bluger, he returned to the lineup for the Canucks after being out. He's been out since October 19th. Martin Pospisil made his season debut for the Flames on Wednesday. Thatcher Demko will have hip surgery. He's out for the year in between the pipes. Simon Edvinsson is out through at least the break coming up here in a couple of weeks as we head off to the Olympics. We'll preview the Olympics a couple weeks here on the podcast once the NHL wraps up their first half of the year. And the Kings are hopeful for an Anze Kopitar return during their 5-game road trip they're coming up for the Kings. And then Linus Ullmark could start for the first time since December 27th, coming off of his injury. Moving into the weekly recap. Tuesday, we had 8 games. The Canadiens beat the Wild 4-3. The Lightning beat the Sharks 4-1 to continue their hot streak. The Senators beat the Blue Jackets 4-1. Stars beat the Bruins 6-2. Sabres beat the Predators 5-3. Jets beat the Blues 3-1. Devils beat the Oilers 2-1. And the Kings beat the Rangers 4-3. On Wednesday, a 6-game slate. The Red Wings beat the Leafs in OT. It was Dylan Larkin getting it done for the Red Wings. The Ducks beat the Avalanche in a shootout. It was Mikael Granlund getting the game winner for the Anaheim Ducks. The Mammoth beat the Flyers in OT 5-4. It was Clayton Keller doing it for the Mammoth. Penguins beat the Flames 4-1, as did the Kraken as they beat the Islanders 4-1. And Canucks beat the Capitals 4-3 behind a Dylan Strome 3-point night. And then the Bruins, they beat the Golden Knights 4-3. This is on Thursday now. Sabres beat the Canadiens 4-2. Blackhawks beat the Hurricanes in a shootout 4-3. It was Oliver Moore getting it done. Blue Jackets beat the Stars 1-0, and Jet Greaves shutout. Predators beat the Senators 5-3. Steven Stamkos getting a hat trick, getting it done, putting a name for himself as the trade deadline approaches. The Panthers beat the Jets in a shootout 2-1. It was Anton Lundell. The Penguins a smack into the Oilers 6-2, and the Wild beat the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime. Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov with the game winner. On Friday, another 8-game slate. The Lightning beat the Blackhawks in a shootout 2-1. Dominic James does it on national television for the Lightning to keep their streak going. The Golden Knights beat the Leafs in Mourner Bowl Part 2. The Golden Knights did it again, a smacking 6-3, I believe, with Mark Stone, a 3-point night. The Stars beat the Blues 3-2. The Flyers beat the Avalanche 7-3. Owen Tippett, a 4-point night. The Capitals beat the Flames 3-1. Devils beat the Canucks 5-4. Cody Glass had 3 points for himself. Sharks beat the Rangers 3-1. And the Ducks beat the Kraken 4-2. On Saturday, the Blue Jackets beat the Lightning 8-5. That snapped a Lightning point streak. They were hottest team. They got a win right back on Monday. The Sabres beat the Islanders 5-0 in Alex Lyons shootout. The Mammoth beat the Predators 5-2. Bruins beat the Canadiens 4-3. Hurricanes beat the Senators 4-1. Red Wings beat the Jets 5-1. Kings beat the Blues in a shootout 5-4. Trevor Moore gets it done for the Kings. Panthers beat the Wild 4-3 in OT. Brad Marchand, the Rat, gets it done. And then the Capitals beat the Oilers 6-5 in OT. Connor McDavid with the winner. On to Sunday, another 6-game slate. The Avalanche beat the Leafs 4-1. Brock Nelson had a hat trick for the Avs. The Kraken beat the Devils 4-2. The Senators beat the Golden Knights 7-1. Penguins beat the Canucks 3-2. Panthers beat the Blackhawks 5-1. And the Ducks beat the Flames 4-3 in overtime. Beckett Seneca with the game winner. On to Monday, a small game, 4 games. Lightning beat the Mammoth 2-1, and Andrei Vasilevsky shutout. Lightning get going right back on the win. Rangers beat the Bruins 4-3 in OT. Matthew Robertson, the game winner. Islanders beat the Flyers 4-0, and Ilya Sorokin shutout. And the Oilers beat the Ducks 7-4. It was Mattias Ekholm and Mikael Granlund with a pair of hatties. And then continuing on, Connor McDavid leads skaters in points at 92 and assists at 59, while Nathan MacKinnon leads skaters in goals at 38. Cale Makar and Evan Bouchard are tied in points for defensemen at 56. Lane Hudson and Quinn Hughes tied in assists for defensemen at 44. And Zach Werenski leading defensemen in goals at 19. Beckett Seneca and Ivan Demidov tied for points for rookies. Ivan Demidov leads rookies in assists at 32. And Beckett Seneca leads rookies in goals at 18. Karl Vejmelka leads goalies and wins at 25. Andrei Vasilevsky leads goalies and goals against at 2.07. Devin Cooley leads goalies in save percentage at .924. And then into the standings. The Lightning lead the Atlantic by 1 point. They are 8-1-1 in their last 10. Hurricanes lead the Metro by 6 points. They are 7-1-2 in their last 10. Avalanche lead the Central by 11 points. They are 4-4-2 in their last 10. And the Golden Knights lead the Pacific 7-3-0 in their last 10. Into the NFL, the Ravens have hired Jesse Minter as their new head coach. He was in the Chargers as their defensive coordinator. Jonathan Gannon is going to Green Bay for the new defensive coordinator. He goes from Arizona and being the head coach. Eric Bieniemy is headed back to Kansas City as he leaves the Bears as he was their running backs coach. The Browns have hired Todd Monken as the head coach, former Ravens defensive coordinator. And the Steelers hired Mike McCarthy as head coach. And the big news, Bill Belichick, not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He missed out on enough of votes, and people are not very happy. And then into the NFC and AFC championships. In the AFC, the New England Patriots beat the Denver Broncos, and they are headed to the Super Bowl. This will make Drake May the second youngest QB to reach the Super Bowl, only behind Dan Marino. And Robert Kraft, in 32 seasons as an owner of the Patriots, has won 11 conference championships with 3 different coach QB pairings. And there are still 4 teams who haven't made the Super Bowl. Into the NFC, the Seahawks beat the Rams. They're headed to the Super Bowl. We're getting a rematch of Super Bowl 49, where the Patriots won 28-24. Malcolm Butler with the game-sealing interception on the 1-yard line. Although the Seahawks have the best running back in the league, not sure why he would ever throw in that position, but maybe a chance to rewrite history for the Seahawks. And this makes Darnold the first QB in the 2018 draft class to make the Super Bowl. This draft class: Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and then, of course, Sam Darnold. Of those 4, I bet Josh Allen would have been your first guess, but no, it's going to be Sam Darnold, former Jets first-round pick, going to the Super Bowl. How about it? Into college football. The big news, this college football playoff will remain at a 12-team playoff. 5 conference champs and 7 at-large bids. They had to make a special rule for Notre Dame since they were doing so much complaining and crying because they don't want to be in a conference. If they're in the top 12, they're in the playoff. All they have to do is finish top 12 and they make it. And then it would be all Power 4 conference champs will get in, plus the highest group of 6. Those will be the top 5 seeds. And then the Notre Dame, their schedule, they want to make their argument for a conference. They're playing 8 teams that lost 8+ games. Okay, Notre Dame, stop complaining. If you can't go undefeated and 8 of the teams you're playing lost 8+ games, is probably a problem. And then Alabama plays 6 of 7 SEC schools that finished with a losing record. What can you say? Into college basketball, Rick Pitino picks up win number 700 against his son Richard in a win over Xavier. Congrats to Mr. Pitino. Into the big wins, UCLA beat number 4 Purdue 69-67. Number 20 Arkansas beat number 15 Vanderbilt 93-68. NC State beat number 18 Clemson 80-76. 22 North Carolina beat number 14 Virginia 85-80. Texas beat number 21 Georgia 87-67. Number 12 Texas Tech beat number 6 Houston 90-86. Number 11 Illinois beat number 4 Purdue 88-82. Auburn beat number 16 Florida 76-67. And Tennessee beat number 17 Alabama 79-73. Number 4 Duke beat number 20 Louisville 71-54. Number 3 Michigan beat number 5 Nebraska 75-72 in a thriller. And Indiana upsets number 12 Purdue 72-67 in Bloomington. Some big games this week include on Friday. We have number 3 Michigan at Michigan State. That will be a good one. Saturday, number 13 BYU heads to Kansas to take on the 14th ranked Kansas. On Sunday, number 9 Illinois heads to Lincoln in an angry Nebraska, ranked 5th in the AP poll. Also on Sunday, number 23 Alabama will head to Gainesville to take on the Florida Gators. And then on Monday, number 14 Kansas takes on number 11 Texas Tech. Into the rankings for this week, Arizona, UConn, and Michigan stay put at 1, 2, and 3. Duke moves up a spot to 4. Nebraska moves up 2 to 5, their highest ranking ever. Gonzaga up to number 6. Michigan State up to number 7. Iowa State up to number 8. Illinois to number 2. Houston drops to number 10. Texas Tech moves up to number 11, and Purdue drops 8 spots to number 12. BYU stays put at 13. Kansas up 5 to number 14. Arkansas up 5 to 15, while North Carolina moves up 6 to 16. Virginia drops 3 to 17, Vanderbilt drops 3 to 18, and Florida drops 3 to number 19, the reigning national champs all the way at number 19. Number 20, Louisville, they move up 3 spots. 21, St. Louis moves up 3 spots. Clemson drops 4 to 22. Alabama drops 6 to number 23. Unbeaten Miami of Ohio moves up a spot to 24, and St. John's at number 25. That's all I have for you this week on the Eli Angle podcast. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday for a new episode. So long.